First, want to take this moment to have a moment of silence for my stepfather, Kenneth Wright, who passed today, Thursday, May 28th. All right. So, peace and praise, blessed ones. Sorry I'm late again, stuff be going on. I'm at work right now, but I am recording from the vehicle another CarCast episode, if you will. So I have a couple things that I want to say. You know, man, death can creep up on you sometimes. One day you can be out having a good time with your people, laughing, joking, running around, flipping, grilling, doing all type of different things, and then the next day, so maybe even the next hour, you're out. You're out like a light, and you're not getting back up. We all have a time in our life where we have to grieve a loved one, and I'm gonna respect, my mother's time for grief. But life goes on. The world doesn't stop. It doesn't even drop. It doesn't even roll when you're in a space of pain and space of despair. But I wanted to there's a couple things that I wanted to say because I'm a person who believes in prayer. I'm a person who believes in the power of the tongue. I am also a person who holds faith high. And regardless of how things may look, God is He determines what's what. So I know that God is real. I know God doesn't make no mistakes. I know God also knows the life that we're living. Excuse me. So with that, I have to say something that a lot of people might not know about me. But, during on my spiritual journey still, I believe in prayer and I believe in my prayers and I believe in God and I trust in God. So I leave it be. Once I pray about it, I leave it alone. I don't dwell in it anymore. I don't worry about it anymore. Like, I just continue to pray. I just keep praying until something happens. And when something happens, then it's like, all right, that's the answer. Then so be it. There's nothing that I can really do about it. I can only react how I can react, and I have to answer to myself. So, I'm not mad at God. I'm not mad at the universe. I'm not mad at anybody. Things happen. It's just unfortunate that it's just, it's my turn. It's my time around the sun. And maybe even indirectly, like I mentioned before, is that sometimes karma doesn't always hit us directly. And even if it's not karma, because again, there's good and there's bad karma. I think we live our life according to what's best for us to do, and sometimes God has other plans. But leave that as it may. I'm about to be high maintenance. I am about to get my sass on because I realize, as someone who is a father, someone who is an ex-husband, somebody who is a son, someone who has lived off someone for a majority of my adulthood. There's been times I was out on my own, but I've been living with my mother probably like up to 2 years now. So, I'm about to be high maintenance because I feel as though my village is my village. I love, like I said all the time, I love my family. I love my support system. But, the thing is that I'm the one that's usually doing the sacrificing. I'm the one that's usually, spending money. I'm the one that's usually going out of my way to, be there for others. Not everybody. I can say that too, but there's a lot of people that I have supported, a lot of people who I have spent time with, a lot of people who I spent money on. And to be honest, I haven't really gotten anything in return, reciprocated and, in a financial state. And money, look, I'ma say it and I'm gonna be honest. God is in all things, but money is everything. Because for somebody who had a taste of money and somebody who had nothing, there's a lot of access when you're in a better financial position. Because even like for me, like with my job, my current job now, I'm getting paid decent, but I'm in it. Like I said, I'm getting back. I'm getting back up on, on my adultness. Because like I said, I've been playing. I've really been playing with myself and thinking that certain people, they ride with me, but it's only like when it's convenient for them. Like I said, when I didn't have a vehicle, I think last time I was on here, I did mention that. So when I didn't have a vehicle, there was a lot of point fingers, a lot of point blame. I don't like when, a woman may say, calls a man broke when they're not able to maybe go to the finest restaurants, maybe not able to get their hair done, maybe not even maybe able to pick them up, maybe not even to, spend a little money on them. Because here's my thing when it comes to relationships. Again, I'm going to talk about that. When it comes to relationships, it's reciprocation. It's transactional. I think a one-sided relationship isn't a relationship at all. That's why I always say, sometimes it's cool when you can, spend your time with somebody and y'all can lay up and y'all can do your thing. But when it comes that's pleasure. But when it comes to spending money, as a man, it's a man's responsibility to pay for stuff. But what is it that the woman has to do? The man's driving, the man's paying the bill, the man's paying for all these other things. But what is it that the woman got to do but sit there and look pretty? I've been very quiet because I didn't know if I was going to be wrong for saying this, because I did have some sort of resentment to a degree towards certain women, not all women, but certain women I had some resentment for, because it's kind of like, it's almost like for me, I've been trying to make up for what was lost. When I didn't have a vehicle, so I would be able to, look, I can still get to where I need to get to. When I didn't have a lot of money or nothing, I was still able to get what I need to get. Like I said, my son's good. So I'm good. Like, I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe a woman nothing. I don't have to do anything. If I do something, it's because I want to do it. If I do something, it's because I enjoy to do it. But I think sometimes not, and it's not just women, men too, but like, because I'm somebody who dates women, sometimes women can be ungrateful because maybe you don't have your own place. And I'm gonna be honest, God, according to God, what is the significance of me having my own place, especially if I'm involved with somebody? Why do you need to come to my house? Why do I need to come to your house? But the thing is too, the thing too is that I want to also mention, even like, there is a silver lining. There are certain things that you're able to reach, and then there's going to be certain things that you won't be able to reach because you are not being obedient to God. So I had to I had to reconsider my position in life, and it's like, I'm a very good looking man. I'll say I'm a very good looking man. I treat people right. I say my prayers. I don't want to say eat my vitamins, but I treat people good. I am very, kind hearted. I give people grace. I forgive people. I do everything that a good man, a good child of God does. But what's missing? Is it because I'm fornicating that I can't be in this certain position? Is it because I'm not putting all of my faith in God that I should? Is why my life is like this? Because again, like I said, like I've said this many times, sin is just a lack of faith somewhere. Where my flaws are, there is some sort of something that's a lot. There's something that I'm lacking, that I haven't been able to, get a good grasp on. I wanna be as honest and transparent as I can today, y'all. Like, I have been I have been going crazy in my mind and my heart because, like, I love the Lord. I love the Lord, but again, I love women just as much. And the thing about it is, I didn't try to, date. I tried to not have sex. I've tried not to watch porn. I've tried not sitting like that. This is my flaw. Like, I can do everything else, but like I said, it's just the temptation, the lustful spirit that I have, that I've been living in. It's rough. It's very hard. It is very hard because it's like I haven't let go yet. It's almost like if the opportunity comes, I'm gonna go for it because, again, I don't, like I said, I don't do nothing wrong. I don't hurt nobody. I don't offend anyone. I don't do anything wrong. I mean, I could probably be critical at some times, but like, I don't, like I said, I just be minding my business. I be staying out the way. So a little cuddling, little razzle dazzle and all that stuff, none of that stuff hurts or nothing. But the thing about it is, I was like, man, I wasn't really being as high maintenance as I said I was gonna be. I wasn't sticking to my word. I'm about to really be high maintenance. It's gonna be very hard for people to really get me or reach me, because it's like, if you're not my friend, if you're not my brother or sister in Christ or whatever, like, if we don't have that platonic relationship, it's gonna be very hard to really, get me, because I had a conversation with someone of mine, like a friend of mine, the other day, and we was talking about it, and I know she had She really kind of like laid it on me, like I'm not as good as I say that I am and all that. And I was like, man, that kind of made me think about some things. And I was like, I know everybody's different. Everybody has different needs and stuff like. So I never had anybody complain. I never had anybody complaining, even with her. Like she wasn't complaining, but there are certain things. It's like, man, you ain't gonna that you're not gonna big me up. Like I don't care about potential. Potential is nothing. Potential is like a job interview. You're a potential employee, but you didn't get the job yet. That's how I look at potential. So it's like you're good, but you're not good enough. And even if you are good enough, you're not the best. And one thing about me is I always strive to be the best. And maybe that's just my pride and my ego about it. But the thing about it is, I need to I kind of been slacking. I've been, doing my devotions, saying my prayers, working, doing all, like paying my bills that I have. Because again, like I said, just because I stay with my mother doesn't mean that I'm not contributing. And I think sometimes even for myself, because I'll be like, man, I'm gonna be honest, I enjoy staying with my mom. I mean, I would like to have my own space because for me, I don't I don't need all that space. Like it's a house. I'm in the bedroom or even down in the living room, but it's like I don't need all that space. It's just us there, and then my brother piece again to my stepfather. But the thing is, it's like, what am I? What do I need to have my own place for, so I can bring a woman there and we can lay up and cuddle up, even though it's like, because again, I'm not like, I'll be cool, like I'm good, like if I need to get a hotel, if I need to get like do something else, I mean then that's what I'll do. But the thing about it is, I think sometimes when we talk about independent, you know there were, I know it's different times now than biblical time, but it's like, man, God created us all for a different purpose. And me living on my own, me being married, and me and my ex-wife living together, me and my like another friend of mine, we living together, like I've had all those experiences, and it is definitely harder. It's harder to, maintain things when you're by yourself. And I'm not saying that's why I'm still there. It's just, again, money. Everything, like money is everything. And I don't mean in the sense of where it's like that's what life's about, but like everything costs money. It costs to go to the store. It costs to, buy clothes. It costs to go out to eat. It costs to make dinner. Like everything, like time is time management. So for me, when I think about, relationships or some sort of relation with someone, all that stuff takes money. And the type of man that I am, and the type of man that I want to be, the type of man that I thrive to be on a day-to-day basis, cannot be that living with his mother, because I'm somebody who wants to take care of you. I'm a man who wants to, like, but again, this is me, like, so I'm not going to sit here and say this is what God wants me to do, but I'm somebody who wants to provide. Like, I'm not sitting here, I'm not going to say I want to pay all your bills, because again, I have my bills, and then there's your bills. And for me, I don't believe that a man should be paying all of his woman's bills if they're not married. That's what I believe. And whether it's biblical or not, that's what I'm going to stand on. So it goes back again to even dating. Like, yeah, I can, we can go double dabble here and there, but it's like, man, I'm not making six figures. I have other responsibilities outside of pleasing your needs. Like, if you want to do things, then you can do it. But if I don't want to do these things, and it's like, if there's something that we're not going to share together, then I'm not going to cover it. Like, I done paid for hair, I done paid for nails, I done paid phone bills, I done paid car notes, I done paid, rent. So I know how that is. And like, again, this was even before like marriage. Like, I was married for a short amount of time, but even before I got married, I was doing this. Like, I've been involved with a lot of women, and I've dated a lot of women, been in a relationship with a lot of women, and they was all great to their own right. But the thing is, like, I'm 38, going on 39. I'll be 39 in like a month and a half, and I've noticed that when you don't have money, or when you're lacking some sort of money, you're just as good as, like, your word doesn't mean anything. So potential doesn't mean anything to me. It used to mean something to me, but it doesn't anymore, because I know potential is just like, even if you have a job, you're one move away from losing it all. And this kind of goes back again to like my stepfather passing. He worked hard. He was always at work. I was giving him money for the rent and stuff. So for him to be gone now, it makes me think about, like, man, you got all this. You're doing everything you need to do. Men do what they need to do, regardless if they living on the street, regardless if they living with somebody or living in the mansion. You're doing everything you have to do as a man, and then it's over. Like, life is too short to not live your best life, but life is also too short to be playing around with people. So for me, ladies, to my ladies listeners, I'm going to be honest. I always feel like women are a little bit more intuitive than men. I do feel like women are not a lot, but are smarter than men. Women are better decision makers than men, to a degree. But I'm going to say this. So, fellas, don't kill me. But, ladies, if your intentions with me isn't to go where I'm going with it, then I don't really care too much of what you really got to say as far as, relationships. Because some people might want to be, just having fun, enjoying them times and company. But, I want to be married again. And I'm not moving like a married man. I'm working and raising my son. And then I'll play sometimes. But it's like, I don't want to be known as a boy toy. I don't want to be known as somebody who you're just talking to. So I had to take a deep dive and think about certain things that I want out of my life. Because, like I said, even though I'm 38, there are still some goals that I need to reach, and I have and I have found this out lately. It's like, man, I love a domestic relationship. You know, I mean, like living with my mom is great, but it's like I do want to be in my own space at times. But you know, I'm good being able to not pay everything. You know, I'm glad to not have to pay everything. I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to do that because that's my desire. But like right now, where I'm at in my life, just rebuilding and redirecting myself to God and aligning myself with my purpose. You know, I'm in a good space. I'm in a comfortable space, and I'm not going to let anybody shame me. I'm not going to let anybody put me down. I'm not going to let anybody say anything to me in regards to that. Because honestly, some of that was like some of my insecurities, because I've I know that's what is expected for everybody. Like when you're at a certain point in your life and a certain age, you should have your own. And like I said, but again, I hold my own weight. Like I still pay my bills. You know, I got my car note, I got insurance, I got my son. Like I still gotta pay these things. The only thing is that I'm just living with my mother, so I'm not paying as much. That doesn't make me any less responsible or any less manly because of that. So I had to really think about it, and I think sometimes people get it twisted because they feel as though when you live maybe I'm wrong, but when you live with a parent, some people might feel like you're not paying anything. But I feel like, you gotta contribute. If you live anywhere, you gotta contribute. I know some people could probably be 60, 50 years old living in a rooming house, or living in you know, living with their peoples and not paying anything. But like for me, I have to pay. I don't care if it's $100, $400, $700, $800. Rent is expensive, and so am I. So with that said, I just wanted to come up here and make some things clear, because like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine. We was having this conversation, and I was like, man, why is that what like who made that a standard? Like who made that a standard? Like, is that biblical? Is that in the Constitution? Is that in the like what is like why is living or having your own place such a high standard? What makes that so much respected than somebody who actually has help, somebody who actually has a village, somebody who actually can, live with a family member but still get things done? Because I still get things done. But again, like I said, only God can determine that. So, blessed ones, y'all stay safe, stay prosperous, productive, and positive. And if y'all have an answer, please feel free to leave a comment, share it. I'll be back next week, maybe tomorrow. Y'all be good.